A drug addiction expert testified today that Michael Jackson's use of drugs put him on a dangerous road, which was likely to shorten his life. Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez has the latest testimony for the Michael Jackson wrongful death trial.
Michael Jackson's use of prescription drugs was secretive, according to testimony. Jurors have heard he used fake names. His use of propofol to sleep at a hotel and his home was never entered in medical records. Was Jackson addicted to propofol? Here's the defense addiction expert, Dr. Paul Early, in a video deposition.
I don't think there's sufficient evidence to, from the record reading, to ascertain whether he was addicted to either propofol or benzodiazepines. There are suggestions in the record, but there's not sufficient information.
Testifying today in person, Early says that propofol studies are scant. Documented cases of dependency are rare, and that most addicts are healthcare professionals who obtain it through surgery centers. The anesthetic is not available in retail pharmacies. Early testified that he has studied 26 propofol addicts in his 30 years of practice. Attorneys for concert promoter AEG Live claim that Jackson's habit was so unusual, even those closest to the star were unaware that Dr. Conrad Murray was infusing Jackson with propofol as an insomnia treatment in the 2 months before Jackson died of an overdose. Early testified there was even more that put Jackson at risk of death, that Jackson was addicted to opioids, the mix potentially lethal. Katherine Jackson has not been in court for the last 2 weeks. Her attorneys claim that Jackson's health declined as he prepared for his comeback tour, and that AEG failed to supervise Conrad Murray, the doctor that AEG conditionally agreed to hire at Jackson's request. Meantime, an outlook for the length of the case. The defense say they will be wrapped up in a week and a half. Then the plaintiffs say they will put on a rebuttal case and put on as many as 4 more witnesses.
A doctor who specializes in drug addiction says Michael Jackson could not have lived long because of his drug use. KCAL 9's Randy Page shows us what Dr. Paul Early said on the stand today in the pop star's wrongful death trial.
An addiction expert called to the witness stand by attorneys for AEG Live testified today Michael Jackson's use of the anesthetic propofol, along with other painkillers, put his life at extreme risk in the days leading up to his death. Mr. Jackson's prognosis was grave in regard to his consequences to his life expectancy from his polysubstance abuse, addiction expert Dr. Paul Early testified. Early said there is insufficient evidence to indicate Michael Jackson was addicted to propofol, but there was evidence Jackson abused propofol, the anesthetic linked to his death. At some point, he began seeking out physicians who would administer propofol to him in a methodical fashion, Dr. Early testified. He characterized Jackson's use of propofol as abuse because it was causing difficulties in his life as a result. Dr. Early went on to say Jackson was warned by several doctors not to use propofol for sleep and not to use it at home, and yet he sought out doctors in order to get propofol for sleep to be administered at home, including Dr. Conrad Murray, who was not trained in the proper use of the drug and who did not provide the equipment necessary to use the drug safely. Each time it's like playing Russian roulette, Early told the jury. But when it was Jackson family attorney's chance to ask the questions on cross-examination, attorney Kevin Boyle's first question to the witness was, who gave Mr. Jackson the propofol that killed him? The witness answered, Conrad Murray. Jackson attorneys maintain AEG was negligent in the way it hired and supervised Conrad Murray, while AEG says this is simply a case of personal responsibility, the personal responsibility of Michael Jackson.